Hi everyone, it's Vicky. Welcome to my channel, and today I am Venus because we have a Venus and Mars movie review. And we went and saw two movies recently, one like 3 days ago and one today. And I really like to do two reviews at a time if I can, because I don't care for 3 and 4 minute videos. I don't know why, but I don't. So I would rather just do a 10-minute or something video. But anyway, let's talk about the first one, just in case I talk too much and have to do the second one as a second video. All right, so the first movie that Mr. Mars and I went and saw was called Devotion. And I knew it was about pilots in the Korean War. It kind of interested me because my dad is a Korean War veteran, and Jerry always likes war movies, history kind of things. That's his jam. I am not really into war movies, but I have to say, for me, this movie was everything that Top Gun wasn't. I think I spoke before the Top Gun, the newest one. This was a movie where there was much more to the characters. There was much more plot. I thought it was a really good movie. I like the actors, the story. They did, a lot of cinematography of planes flying. Yes, they weren't jets like in Top Gun because that wasn't the technology available at the time. They were, propped planes. They're not the fighter jets of today. I thought it was a really well done movie. I thought it was well acted. I thought the story was good. They, really evolved, especially the main character. And basically, if you don't know what the story is, it is about an elite fighter, plane, guys. I don't even know what they're called now. I want to say jet pilots, but they're not really jets at the time. So fighter pilots, that's the word. It's about an elite fighter pilot group that end up in Korea, and they go to a big what do you call it when it's a big battle, I guess you'd say, but it's a famous battle, I guess is the word. In Korea, and Jerry was very familiar with it. I really wasn't. I have to say, Korea is definitely the forgotten or lost war for me. I don't remember much about it in high school history or even college history. If it wasn't for my dad, I wouldn't know anything about it probably. Maybe this TV series MASH a little bit, but that's about it. So anyway, Jerry, when he saw where they were when they put on the screen, he was like, oh no, But yeah, it ends up that these two families of these two guys end up being lifelong friends. This is based on a true story. In fact, I looked up something to make sure that it was, how much of it was true story and not true story. When they say based on, it could, it could just, they had the same name, what does that mean? So I looked it up, and pretty much almost the whole movie is right down to reality. There's a couple scenes, one with someone who's supposed to be Elizabeth Taylor, that isn't, it happened, but it didn't happen to the people that are in the story, the main guy. It didn't happen to him. It happened to somebody else in their squadron or whatever. And there were 2 other things that were slightly off, but for the most part, it was a true story. So it was very heartwarming to know that the family stayed friends for a long time. And one of those pilots is an African-American man. And so, he's like the first African-American pilot, Navy pilot. This is Navy aviation, by the way, not Air Force. And I don't know if I said that at the beginning, but anyway, he's a pioneer. So this is a real historical event, and I think they did a real good job of making him a person other than just a pilot. Although they made him a pilot, a very skilled, but they also talk about, they also touch on the troubles that he endured being African American during the 50s and 60s. I think it goes in, no, it would be just the 40s and 50s, I guess, yeah. But anyway, it's, yeah, I think it's a worth see. I would suggest people see it. Absolutely. Definitely. Definitely a thumbs up for both of us. And for me, it's a must see. I enjoyed every minute of it. I had no idea. It's like over 2 hours long. I forgot how long it was, 2 hours and 40 minutes or something. I don't know. It didn't seem like a long movie at all. There are moments that are funny. There's a few funny lines. There's moments that just about bring you to tears. There's suspense. I was on the edge of my seat a couple times, and then there's times you can sit back in your seat and take a breath. There's sweet moments. There's sad moments. There's exciting moments. There's, it takes you through a lot of emotions too. So anyway, yes, I do recommend this movie. I mean, if you I'm not a war movie person, but this one had so much more than just that. But if you're really bothered by war and violence, like maybe you experienced that and it could be a trigger, then I wouldn't recommend it. But not that it has a lot of war scenes, but still, it's just, you just have to know whether this is a movie you can see or not. But anyway, other than that, highly recommend. All right, so the second movie we saw, and I apologize for my appearance, I should have said at the beginning. We were cleaning and dust got to me, and we had a rough night. Jerry had a rough sinus night, and I've had a rough sinus morning, and I couldn't even put on mascara or anything. But anyway, so we went to the movies, and actually we both cleared up a bit there. Something about that theater is just, the lighting changed, the sun's gone behind the clouds. But anyway, all right, so the second movie we saw was iMordicai, and it stars Judd Hirsch and Carolyn Kane and Sean Astin. These are actors I know. The other movie, I wasn't as familiar with those actors. As you get older, it seems like I know less and less actors. But anyway, I used to watch Taxi back in the day, was that in the late 70s? And I love that show. I was a big fan of Taxi. And to see these two together again, they may have been together in the last 50 years, on and off, I don't know. If they did, I don't recall. I probably didn't see it. But in this, there was just something very nostalgic about that. It is a movie about a Holocaust survivor. He and his wife, both Judd Hirsch and Carolyn Kane, are Holocaust survivors. They were in Poland. And they now live in Miami. And he's used to things the way a lot of the movie is about, as you age, how things change and you can't keep up, or you don't want to keep up, or it's too much trouble, or I can see my neighbor's cat in her window. And so they get him an iPhone. And of course he's resistant to it. He's got his flip phone that's got aluminum foil on the antenna. It's got duct tape keeping the thing together. Of course, he doesn't know how to use it, and he refuses, but eventually he ends up with some lessons from a nice young woman at the iPhone store. And she has her own issues, which are somewhat of a mystery, so I'm not going to tell them here. I think it tells you pretty early in the film. But anyway, so she befriends him, so does some of the other, what do they call them, prodigies, kind of like at an Apple store where they have the Apple geniuses. They have this company, I forget what it's called, and they call them prodigies. But anyway, these folks befriend him, and his wife is suffering from dementia, which, so it sounds terrible when I tell it this way. It sounds very sad, but it isn't a sad movie. It is actually about the human spirit and the ability to keep going, and the ability of some people, or hopefully lots of people, but some people, to be able to still enjoy their life and be positive and forward thinking. Or I say forward thinking after saying that about the iPhone, but I mean it in a different way. But it's, and his son is their son is Sean Astin in this movie. And he's got a struggling business, and it's because of a timing on the business that he's not getting the cash flow he needs, so he borrowed money from his dad. But yet I think he loves his dad, but I think he's dismissing him a little because of his age, you know, and ageism exists, and it doesn't just wait for someone to be in their 80s. Judd Hirsch, I think I looked him up, and I think he's like 87, and in the character they say he's 80. But yeah, you don't have to be 87 to have ageism. You know, if you're 45, someone who's 19 is going to think you're old, or, you know, passe perhaps in some instances. But anyway, yeah, it's I laughed in the movie at times. Some people have made comments about the movie. I had heard that, you know, that they overdid the whole speech and stuff. That an article popped up and I saw that about, they thought that it was too hard to understand them. And I will say there was a couple times that it was hard to understand, but their accents were almost like a character in it. Not a caricature, but almost like a whole nother piece of it. And it's shot in Miami, so it was kind of, I don't know, it had a vibe, a bit of a vibe. Definitely you can tell it's, or I'm assuming it's an independent film, because that's what it feels like. And yes, it is. It is an independent film, because it was actually, I know that now. I looked up when it previewed, because I wasn't sure if this was a new movie or not. It's new for this kind of theatrical release. It was actually released in 2022 at like film festivals, and the person who wrote it, produced it, directed, did the whole thing, was the character that Sean Astin plays. And it was weird for me early on in the movie with Sean Astin, because I'm used to thinking of him as a kid, and this makes me like in the 80 generation, I guess. So it was very hard for me to think of him as an adult, because I knew him from when he was more of a child actor, and then even like in the Lord of the Rings. So I didn't see him really in my mind as an adult man, father, husband, person. I know it's kind of crazy, but I just always thought of him as either a kid or a very young adult. But anyway, I digress. But yeah, I liked the movie. Jerry liked it. I would definitely give it a thumbs up. Do you have to run out and see it? No, it'll probably be, you know, streaming or something soon. If you're kind of half interested, it'll probably be out, you know, pretty soon, since it was really actually released sometime in 2022, but in a different format, like to independent film festivals and stuff. But yeah, I think it's worth seeing, yes. Again, a run out and see a movie, there's not that many of them that hit me that way. I think Elvis hit me that way, but yeah, so it is called iMordicai, because his name is Mordecai and he gets an iPhone. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else to say about the movie other than I enjoyed it. It had, yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a nice movie to watch. I know that sounds simple, but not all movies are a nice movie to watch. A Cabin in the Woods was not a nice movie to watch. This was a nice movie to watch. So thanks for sticking with me as I ramble on. Please comment below if you've seen either one of these movies and what you think about them. And I'm not going to ask you to compare them, because they're completely different types of movies. But yeah, just tell me if you've seen them and what you thought, and if you would recommend them. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Give me a thumbs up if you would, and subscribe to the channel, as always.